Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Hope for Samson. We wanted to let you know that we have some really big, exciting news, but we're going to sneak it into some of the content to try to manipulate you into paying attention throughout the whole thing.
That's right. So you have to listen to the middle of this video to really hear the news, okay? But today we want to tell you about the baby steps. All right, let's get started. So we know that sometimes when you're thinking about the whole Dave Ramsey plan, financial piece, it can get a little confusing. So we thought we'd do a video just to really quickly go down all 7 baby steps.
A micro breakdown of Dave Ramsey, which is kind of our hero throughout this process. He was who we emulated, and so we would be remiss if we didn't explain these baby steps to you because they really are paramount to your process.
Absolutely. So we're going to go a little quick, so follow along. Baby step number 1 is to save $1,000 as your emergency savings.
And only $1,000.
That's right. So think of this as the first aid kit in your house. It's not everything. It's not the ER. It's not the hospital. It's just a first aid kit. So if something happens, let's say you get a flat tire or some minor thing happens to your car, you have enough of a buffer to help take care of that cost without having to go back into debt.
It might be very uncomfortable for you to lower your savings to just $1,000 as it was for me, but ultimately it's the best thing for your budget because it's not giving you this false sense of security in having 10 grand in your savings account but 100 grand of student loans. You're actually giving yourself a better sense of where you stand financially.
Yep. Baby step number 2 is to pay off all your debt except for your house. Now this is the longest baby step.
I don't even know why they call it a baby step. It's like a college student step. Like, that's basically like everything.
Yes. And while I say it's the longest one, it's not really the longest one, but it can feel like the longest.
That's true. That's true.
Right? And so think of this like a shovel and you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole. You're basically trying to get to ground level. That's where you're at. It took us 22 months to get there. We paid off $95,000 to get there, just to get to zero. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to $95,000. I looked at my wife and said, guess what, babe? Now we're just broke, poor, right? Like now we're just even.
Even with the guy that's homeless down the street.
That's right. We climbed our way up to zero, okay? So that's baby step 2. Baby step 3 is to have a 3 to 6 month fully funded emergency fund.
So here's where you get to start to feel a little bit more comfortable, right? So he wants you to feel a little bit uncomfortable with just the $1,000 in the bank initially, but now you're in this place of security where you can save a little bit more and feel a little bit more secure knowing that if something bad does take place, then you're gonna be covered long term.
Yeah, the way I like to think of it is like when I first moved into my apartment and it was all by myself, you know, somebody gave me that little tiny baby toolkit. You know, it looks like something like from a Barbie doll house.
I didn't get one of those.
No, I hope you had one of those. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it.
Now, if I think about the toolbox I have, right, it has everything. At least it has everything that I need, right? And so this is what that 3 to 6 months does. It's like your toolbox. If something were to happen, let's say a tragic illness or you got into an accident or you lost your job, you have created now a buffer to keep you from having to feel the weight or the pressure of all of that coming in on you.
Right.
Baby step 4, 5, and 6 actually kind of work concurrently. So they actually happen all at the same time.
Right.
Baby step 4 is to invest 15% into retirement.
So both you and your partner are maxing out your match program at your work and then some, okay? So 15% of each of your check.
And this one seems hard because that seems like a lot you're putting in, but you've missed some time by paying off debt. And so it's important for you to kind of just rock into this.
Yeah. It might seem excessive, but like Samson said, you're making up for time lost when you were putting everything you had into your debt snowball.
Baby step 5 is to save for your children's college fund.
That's right. So Oklahoma has one of the best 529 plans in the entire United States. So this is really a plan that you want to invest your most in. And actually, we are going to be investing in 2 529s, which sounds like a lot because we got a little gummy bear on our way.
That's the big news!
That's the big news that you guys were holding out for.
Yeah! That's right. That's
really
why we
excited.
cleverly named this the baby step episode.
If you didn't catch that, that's your fault.
There you go. How clever of us. So we're having a baby.
Yes.
Baby number 2.
Baby
It's going to
step
be a
number
girl. At least that's my guess. What's your guess? You think it's going to be a girl?
I don't know.
No? Girl. I think girl. But that's not official. We got to find out. Right? Let's keep moving. Baby step 6 is to pay off your house in its entirety.
Now, you might think that this is a totally unnecessary step if you're like the majority of people that live in America. But really, it does provide you with the sense of freedom that most people will never experience in their lifetime. You not having to pay a mortgage every single month is huge. Dave Ramsey puts it this way: you walk into your backyard after you pay off your home, and the grass just feels different because you have a completely different sense about your surroundings.
Yes. And then baby step 7, once you've completed all 6 baby steps before this, baby step 7 is to build wealth and give.
Yes, and this is also something that Samson and I did throughout our baby step process, and we still continue to do.
So as we were paying off our debt, we still continue to tithe, and we still continue to give to local nonprofits and ministries that we believed in.
So the tithe is something that the church calls us to do, that scripture calls us to do, and that's a 10% of your income. But beyond that and above that is something that we practice, and that's what we talk when we talk about generosity. That's what we mean. We don't mean the foundational sense of giving 10%. We mean going above and beyond that to bless those around you.
That's right. So you could tithe even now, whether you're on 1, 2, or 3, wherever you're at in the baby steps. But when you get to 7, when you're at that point, man, you get to really give generously. And I'll tell you this, if you're not giving now, you won't give when you get there.
It's easy to say that only rich people are really generous, but that's not actually true. Rich people that didn't practice generosity when they were struggling financially probably don't practice much generosity when they're affluent and opulent.
So that's it. That's all the baby steps. Hopefully you got a cool little rundown and you got a little bit of understanding of what this whole system is all about. And man, it kind of inspires you to jump on board.
Yes, you can do it.
You can do it. And then also, we're having a baby.
Baby number 2.
Baby number 2. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.